Ուրախ ենք ձեզ բոլորի տեսնել այստեղ։ Այս տարի մենք հնարավորություն ունեինք հրավիրել Եվրոպայից 2 գրողների եւ նրանք այստեղ են այսօր մեզ հետ եւ կկարդան իրենց ստեղծագործությունները, հետագայում եթե հարցեր ունենաք, խնդրեմ։ Մեր հյուրերն են Giorgos Koutouvelasը Հունաստանից եւ Shannon Sullivan-ը Գերմանիայից։ Այժմ ելույթ կունենա Giorgos-ը, կկարդա հունարեն եւ կկարդա գերմաներեն եւ կկարդա անգլերեն։ Հետագայում մենք նաև կհրատարակենք նրանց բանաստեղծությունների եռալեզու եւ երկլեզու ժողովածուները արդեն հայերեն թարգմանությամբ. So, dear everyone, thank you for coming. From this year on, Yerevan Bookfest is officially Yerevan International Book Fest, thanks to joining Versopolis, which is the one of the biggest, if not the biggest, poetry platform in the world, for sure the biggest in Europe. And this year we have invited 2 poets from Europe to join us. Hi, Claudia. And one of the poets sitting next to me is Giorgos Koutouvelas from Greece. He's going to read his poems in Greek and in English. And we have Shannon Sullivan there, and she's going to read and perform her poetry after. Afterwards, in June, we'll have the chapbooks printed in 3 languages and in 2 languages. Translated, the poets' works translated into Romanian. So thank you everyone for coming and enjoy the afternoon of poetic expression.
Good morning from me too. First of all, I would like to thank the Yerevan Bookfest for the invitation that brought me here today with you. Also, I would like to thank the Versopolis platform of European poetry. Also, Anna herself. This has been great help here. I represent, of course, both my country and Versopolis here today, but most of all I represent the ideas that come from my poems that I'm going to read for you today. The clouds are moldy at the bottom of the rain, while the children smoke chalk on the roof of a book. Another small poem about entertainment. The scissors are closed. The light noise of the finger that fell into the wet floor. The screams, mixed in a sonic mass with the hilarious laughter from the television audience. I will continue reading my poems both in Greek and in English. Βουτάω την πένα μου στον ουρανό της νύχτας. Το σκοτάδι έχω για μελάνι. Όταν βαριέμαι μου τζουρώνω τα άστρα ή φτιάχνω γκριμάτσες στο φεγγάρι όμοιες με τη διάθεσή μου. I dip my pen into the sky of the night, the darkness I have for ink. When I'm bored, I smudge the stars or make faces on the moon similar to my mood. Another poem about night. Τα βράδια κάνω ανάποδες σκέψεις, σαν νυχτερίδα την ώρα που κοιμάται. Γατζωμένος έτσι στο μισοφέγγαρο βλέπω για ουρανό την Τζιμεντούπολη και το ξημέρωμα, Θεέ μου, δεν θέλω να πετάξω. In the evenings, I think backwards, like a bat while sleeping. Hooked like that on the crescent moon, I see the cement city for sky, and at dawn, my God, I don't want to fly. This is a poem about the moon, but it's also a bit ironic. Και το φεγγάρι να σου έδιναν για κέρμα, πώς να το εξαργυρώσεις θα έψαχνες μαλάκα. And if the moon were given to you as a coin, how to redeem it, you'd be looking for, asshole. Μια ανοιχτή πληγή τα μάτια. Όταν την κλείνω, τυφλώνομαι. Το να βλέπεις, πονά. The eyes are an open wound. When I close them, I go blind. Seeing, you see, hurts. This is a poem about some of my colleagues that don't risk to fight using their words for a better word. Ανάπηρος ποιητής. Με τόσα σιροπιαστά λόγια μπουκωμένος, η γλώσσα κόλλησε στον ουρανίσκο και δεν μπορώ να προφέρω τη λέξη μαχαίρι, τη λέξη πυγμένο, τη λέξη καρδιά. Ορθώστε κάστρα με τα τενεκεδάκια σας στις αμμουδιές, ακονίστε τα πλαστικά σας μαχαίρια, συνεχίστε να κλαψουρίζετε κάτω από τις πανσέλινους για τον ανεκπλήρωτό σας έρωτα με τον καθρέφτη. Απλώς πείτε μου τι θέλετε να κάνω. Είναι άραγε πρέπον να σηκώσω μια πέτρα και να θρυψαλιάσω τα τιμόρροπα σας δόντια. Disabled poet. With so many honeyed words, my tongue is stuck, and I cannot pronounce the word knife, the word stab, the word heart. Erect castles with your cans on the sandy beaches. Sharpen your plastic knives. Keep whining under the full moons about your unrequited love with a mirror. Just tell me, what do you want me to do? Is it appropriate to pick up a stone and shatter your crumbling teeth? This is a poem about the woman at the next door. Μια γυναίκα μπήκε στο σπίτι. Έβγαλε τον ουρανό που φοράγε εδώ και χρόνια και καπέλο. Ήψωσε το βλέμμα και αντίκρισε για πρώτη φορά ένα ταβάνι φρεσκοβαμμένο, σαν το πρόσωπο ενός νεκρού την ώρα που του ετοιμάζουν την κηδεία. Στάθηκε πάνω από τον νεροχύτη. Στην παλάμη της έσφιξε ένα μαχαίρι και άρχισε να καθαρίζει τα λέπια και τα βράχια από το σώμα της. Να φάει καλά και να χορτάσει η οικογένεια. At the next door. A woman entered the house. She took off the sky that she wore as a hat for years. She raised her gaze and saw for the first time a ceiling freshly painted. Painted like the face of a dead man while they were preparing for his funeral. She stood above the sink. In her palm she squeezed a knife. And she began to clean the scales and the gills from her body, to feed and to satisfy the family. The next poem is about a fairy tale. Τη νύχτα ο μάγος παίζει τον αυλό. Κάνει το σκυλί να ανέβει στο τραπέζι. Ψέλνοντας ξόρκια το μεταμορφώνει σε φίδι και εκείνο αρχίζει να λυκνίζεται. Καθώς ξημερώνει, ο αυλητής αποκοιμιέται ξεχνώντας να λύσει τα μάγια και το φίδι έρποντας βρίσκει καταφύγιο κάτω από τη σκιά ενός απαγορευμένου δέντρου, στην αυλή της Παλαιάς Διαθήκης, με ένα μήλο για κεφάλι και για στόμα μια δαγκωματιά. A fairy tale. The wizard plays the pipe overnight, makes the dog hop up on the table. He casts a spell and turns into a dancing snake. At dawn, the piper falls asleep, leaving the spell unbroken, so the snake crawls under the shadow of a forbidden tree into the Old Testament's yard with an apple instead of a head and a bite instead of its mouth. The next poem is about how a poem is written. Poetics. Seeking to write a poem, it's like trying to fill up the moon. They both need their time. Love letter. Maria, αυτός ο κύριος με τις φουσκωμένες τσέπες από τα καταστήματα ελαντικών, κάποια μέρα θα καταφέρει να γεμίσει κρέας στην υποσετισμένη σου ψυχή. Όμως εσύ, καθισμένη στον πάτο του μπουκαλιού, κατά καιρούς θα στρέφεις το βλέμμα ψηλά, πάνω από το λαιμό, για να κοιτάξεις με νοσταλγία τον έρωτα, το φελό που σε σφινώνει. Maria, that gentleman with his inflated pockets in the butchery shops, someday will manage to fill with meat your insufficient, nourished soul. But you, sitting at the bottom of the bottle, once in a while you'll turn your look high, over the neck, nostalgically to stare love, the cork that wedges you. The next poem is not about the usual serial killers, it's about the unusual serial victims. He stared at him wildly at a safe distance. Listening to the alligators he wears for footwear approaching, his nose is automatically sticking to the screen while his fingers tap incoherently on the keyboard. In the evenings, leaving the office with bowed head, he breaks out growling at cats under cars. With a banner full of slogans, he repeats the march with final destination the ministry of disgust, fear, and isolation, his home. He opens the sink in a desperate attempt to flush the disgust over him. He doesn't know how he ended up like this. His last memory, waking up naked in a bathtub full of pink ice. Someone has surgically removed his soul. He went out for a walk to see a few simple things. A tree under the moon, a shadow under the tree. A law must finally be enacted against serial victims, he thought, and he smiled. Αποκεφαλισμένη. Η λογική ξύρισε το κεφάλι της. Μου τζούρεσε τα χείλη με μαύρο κραγιόν. Με λίμα είδαρε τις γωνίες από το πρόσωπό της και αποκεφαλίστηκε σε μια τέλεια σφαίρα, έτοιμη προς χρήση για οποιονδήποτε πλοφορεί. Decapitated. Reason shaved her head. She smudged her lips with black lipstick. Then, with a file, she scratched the corners of her face and beheaded herself in a perfect round bullet, ready to be used by anyone who carries a gun. The next poem is about collateral damage. Crack. He lifted his foot and found a tiny plastic soldier. His legs were cracked, the body had crumbled in a formless mass while it had also been beheaded. With his leg, he threw some dirt over it, as a minimal atonement for the collateral damage of an otherwise innocent walk. From the calendar of domesticated animal. Today, he was trumpeting everywhere how happy I am. He showed off my shiny coat to the neighbors. Sometimes he would uproot strands to moisten my eyes so they would shine evenly with a metal collar. There were other accessories for the walk, such as the leash, but most important of all was the muzzle. Wearing it, I could open my mouth as much as I should, that is, to breathe. At some point, I will convince him that I am absolutely tamed and he will remove the muzzle from me. Until then, I won't eat anything. I want to be extremely hungry when that day comes, so to be sure that I won't hesitate. Battalion. Fanaticism numbs the fingers. Alas, someone from the mob will pull the trigger and the stones will start crushing each other, giving birth to dozens of others to continue their sacred duty, up until they become fine gravel, capable of bearing the moral lessons of this ineffective fairy tale. Empty boots stand in the mud. They are waiting to sing from the rain, hoping to find a pair of legs in their own size. The last one I will read it both in Greek and English. Θα μου πεις, τι να τα κάνεις τα φτερά αν δεν υπάρχει ουρανός. Θα σου πω, να αρχίσεις να τον χτίζεις. You will tell me, why do we need wings if there is no sky? I will tell you to start building it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now I'm pleased to invite Shannon Sullivan for our second part of poetry reading.
Thank you so much for inviting me here. A very, very big thank you to Yerevan Bookfest, to Anahit, to Versopolis, and also thank you to Claudio Pazzani for suggesting me. And yeah, it's such a pleasure to be with you today. I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'm going to do a couple of things I don't normally do today. I don't normally read at poetry readings. I usually do other things with musicians, I usually perform, but I want to share with you today a poem that is so new you are the very first audience to hear it. And it is also so new, I was writing to Anahit and saying, okay, I changed the title, I changed this line, so you will be the very first ones to hear this one. The poem is called Origin. Make ambassadors of your hands, regardless of my birthplace. We are headed to the origin of all that has been torn down. Swap your gender with mine. The finite betrays us. My name is moist molecules my mother keeps in a tiny porcelain bottle in her kitchen. Your name is the ineptness of my tongue. I will never master the infinite incarnations. Hands roam beneath my collarbones like stray dogs seeking sustenance. Like rivers, we cross fictional boundaries, defy definitions, become saltwater. Hands obey no traffic laws, skid toward each other's, past each other, on the page, off the page. Backs and bellies of alphabets crumble. Borders between bodies dissolve. The wind dances across state lines, redrawn and casts. Thoughts showing no proof of identity migrate illegally across membranes, elude checkpoints, take root, not where they are citizens, but where they might grow. I'm confused, you say, before moving your body towards and on top of mine. For a confused person, you're very direct, I say. You laugh and we continue, begin our ending, missing unspent tomorrows. We are headed towards the origin of all that has been torn down, opposite worlds, same latitude line. Slung between the dictates of ambiguous laws, amorphous nationalities. The clumsiness of sounds my tongue is not certain how to make signify our meeting. My name is River. Your name stumbles against the banks of my mouth. Thoughts migrate, I find remnants of your lines in mine. Hands roam beneath my collarbones like stray dogs. Can't remember words dissolve on my tongue, backs and bellies crumble, no traffic laws skid toward each other, past each other, on the page, off the page. No proof of identity elude, checkpoints take root. I'm confused, you say to me. For a confused person, you're very direct, I say. You laugh, we begin, missing unspent tomorrows. I will love you with my absence, if absence is the best way to love you. So I'm currently working on a series of poems, and it's the poem I'm going to read now was the first poem in the series, and that is the last poem. But when I print them, I'll probably put them in reverse order because, yeah, sort of like a time machine. But for this next poem, one of the things that is dearest to my heart, maybe the most dear to my heart, is this desire for peace. I think all of us really share this desire for peace. And it was funny, I was actually supposed to participate in a collective reading for peace, and I was looking through all my poems and I realized I don't have a single poem about peace. Although it's the topic that's dearest to my heart, all I have are poems about attempts to make peace. So the person in this poem, I wish him peace, and I wish all of us peace. The poem is called Bombs. Arms barely touching. Through the curtain of our conversation, I can hear the bombs still falling. Words swim towards me, contain brown bodies on boys barely breathing. I woke up dreaming, with you wrapped around me, engulfing me in your Dead Sea. Words swim towards me, lines land stranded next to beached whales. Listen through your bodies here. Poems throw thorned blood-red roses at tear gas and tanks. We sit, arms barely touching, but in spirit I lie down with you in the sand, listen to bombs strike white rocks from a distance under an illegal blue sky. So many in internment camps awaiting deportation. States proclaim arch enemies, our verses carve the keys. A seed of yours plants itself firmly in the soft walls of my brain. I'd be more likely to go to bed with you than to war against you. My walls against your walls, rubbing my wounds against your trauma would make for some very hot sex and a complete lack of perspective. Crows surveilling the damage. The street severs Damascus's heart muscle. Christian atriums, Muslim ventricles, this septum slides somewhere between my belly and your chest. We disregard it, commence to kiss the roofs back onto decapitated buildings. Bombs. Atoms surrender, nuclei merge, exponential explosion, consciousness, obliteration, stardust. That's how you taste in my mouth. But I don't write erotic poems. You write of magma. Volcanoes are where I come from, no joke. I like to climb inside them, sing in your fingers molten. Maybe one day we'll fuck so long we no longer distinguish between matter and energy. I'm a physicist's daughter. Let's calculate a safe distance between you and time. So, it's very funny, this question of nationality and identity, and for me, it all becomes so amorphous because I was born in the United States. I'm an Irish citizen. I live in Germany. I don't know. But right now, I live in Berlin. And with the war that's going on right now, we were receiving many refugees from the Ukraine in Berlin. So this poem is called Hauptbahnhof. That's the major train station in Berlin where the refugees from the Ukraine were coming. So Hauptbahnhof. Pre-invasion, pre-tank tidbits. Life dissolved into one long train ride. The station's name doesn't fit in my mouth. Can you help me carry my broken baby buggy, charred, scattered? I'm breathing like I'm running, but I'm lying in bed. This next poem is one of my oldest that I'm still performing. I wrote it back in 2009. And at that point, I was still dancing. I was originally a dancer. And in the poem is called Top. And I play with 3 meanings of the word top. In English, there are 3 possible meanings. One is the toy that spins. One is to be way up high on top. And then there's also the meaning of top as a circus tent, where the shows go on. So this one is top. An inner fight is only feet to pull feet, feet, feet to pull feet, to pull feet, to pull direction downwards, inwards, twisting a constant pull, tug, 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 tug. Tug, tug on me, pulling down. Gravity is twisted, and so am I twisting, pulling down. An inner fight is only why do you twist, pull, and ask. Standing is harder than walking. Standing is more precarious than walking away, poised on 2 feet, too small for the entire construction, teetering, 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 teetering in a bit of dizzy ground. This pulling down, weightlessness would be everything in balance. Weightlessness would be not fighting to stand, not fighting to stand. An opened mouth is an invitation, is a revelation, is a prerequisite to a kiss and a sigh. My inner world is spinning so many pulls. Gravity is nothing. It only knows how to pull down, but I am pulled in every direction, and I am pulled in every direction, pulled in every direction. The reciprocal tensions are enough to stretch the tent, make it stand poised, paused. Without the tension, would I fall? Falling is freedom, a free fall, a free fly, or is falling the most primitive, the most penetrant of fears? Don't worry, you won't fall. You wrote to me on a slip of pink paper. I kept it for years, and I thought of it every time before I went on stage. Don't worry. You won't fall. Poise on a pinpoint, spinning my own personal top. Spinning is my definition of freedom. Spin something fast enough and it flies. Didn't you know I'm spinning, 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 I'm spinning. My head is spinning. My head is flying, but it's flying down. It's too heavy to hold up. It's flying down. I must have gotten the tensions wrong. I didn't pitch the tent correctly. I am flying down. Even on the floor, the pulling doesn't stop. How did I get so many parts, so much pulling? One's bound to pop off soon. It would be a relief, a loss, but it would break the tension. I am falling up. I am falling up to standing on feet that are far too small, teetering, 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 teetering on this tiny base. I wasn't built to stand. I wasn't built to stand. I was built to turn and to move. So this next poem is called Icarus Howls, and it is based on, I was playing with two images and bringing them together. I don't know if you know American poetry at all, but there's a famous poem by Allen Ginsberg that is amazing, and it's called Howl, and it sort of shattered all ideas about what poetry was supposed to be and what you could talk about and what you couldn't talk about. And the poem begins, I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness. And I'm definitely seeing the best minds, or maybe not, maybe we don't need to destroy the best minds of our generation, I hope. But I wrote this poem when, I don't even feel like saying the name, when someone was president in my country who I really did not want as president, and I was horrified. So, what I really wish for all of us is respect, to respect that we are not alone, we are all together on this planet, we need to honor each other, we need to honor the planet. This one is called Icarus Howls. "70-hour work weeks, earthquakes beneath our feet, drilling offshore oil, oceans boil, in the air, heats, asthmatic lungs, shoot emails off like weapons, words like acid on our tongues, text messages, text messages, text messages, arthritic thumbs. Shoot me an email, 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 shoot me an email. pipeline or democracy, hydrogen bombs and poverty, digital dates, pornography, and endless oil ecstasy, fracking, 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 drill deep sea, get out. This ain't your territory. We rolled on unconcerned as our wings began to burn, repeat, repeat, and still we cannot repeat, repeat, and still we cannot repeat, 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 and still we cannot learn. Epiphanies, animal screams. We've got the whole world in our hands, it seems. Smoldering clouds, heed your mother's words. Smoldering clouds, heed your mother's words. Smoldering clouds, heed your mother's words. Pride cometh before a fall. Broke back and holy, lack love and lonely. Breakthrough, hallucinate, crucify, omen, give back what was stolen. Coltane for our phones. Skyscrapers dream, scream, suicide, scream, suicide, naked from the rooftops of time. Wild eyes, holy farewell, swan dives from observation decks, revelations in our skull, splash against the pavement. A juicy pulp of battered limbs. But there's nothing to see here, they say. Keep moving. There's nothing to see here, they say. Keep moving. There's nothing to see here, they say. Keep moving. Pride cometh before a fall. Okay, so the next piece I'm going to do is going to be my last piece for today. And what I usually love to do, I love to perform with musicians. It's my greatest pleasure, greatest joy. So, but my musicians aren't with me today, so what I've never tried before is to play with recorded music. So we're just gonna try it once. It's a little risky, but risky works with this poem because the poem is about something very risky. So let's give it a try, and please forgive me if it gets a little weird. Okay. Music, yes. Dawn 1931, the corner of 34th Street and 5th Avenue, men perch balance, teeter, no harnesses, no nets, steel, 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 steel girders. Jeremiah gets a job as an elevator operator in a very tall building, but not as tall as the one next door. Its spire presses to pierce cirrus, stratus, cumulonimbus up. Building a building like this is the closest thing to war in peacetime, they said. We're battling the elements, immigrant and native bodies, steel girders are unnecessary, they're just a necessary expenditure up. He spends all day inside that metal box, pulling the lever, pushing the gate, helping the men in their business suits float up and down whenever they want to, but secretly he keeps his eyes glued to the tall, skinny stem of a building next door. It continues to sprout upwards, up 102 floors. The steel skeleton scratches the stars. One day he notices a dark shape fall from it. Like a fly. From a flower at first. But then it gets bigger and bigger as it drops down, 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 down. It dawns on him. It was a man. Only became clear when they came to scrape him up. Day after day, his eyes are now peeled, they're glued to the building, the scaffolding, the steel beams, the men balancing up and down. For 3 times the normal daily wage, you can risk your life on high, or you can stay on the ground and starve. The choice is yours. So if your belly is empty, your family is hungry, and you're feeling lucky for 3 times the money go up. Your strange sounding name never entered the register. We can pretend that you never were, just go up. Do the rich die by choice? Poor die by accident? Do the poor die by accident? Do the rich die by choice? Do the rich die by choice? Do the poor die by accident? Do the poor die by accident? Do the rich die by choice? Do the rich die by accident and the poor die by choice? Do the poor die by accident and the rich die by choice? The rich die by choice. The poor die by accident. The poor die by accident and the rich die by choice. Thank you very much. Thank you.